Greetings, Dragon Ball fans, and welcome to a new What If. In this series, I will explore the possible outcomes if the time travel mechanic is slightly different. There may be some similarities to other What If Trunks was stuck or stayed in the past, but let's see how things develop here. We will of course need to set some ground rules for this, so in keeping with Toriyama's appreciation for Western media, I'll be borrowing from everyone's favorite killer robot time travel movies, Terminator 1 and 2. As per the title, at least technology-based time travel will strictly be a one-way affair, and this form of temporal relocation can only be done into the past. This effectively strands any time travelers at whatever point they emerge, regardless of what they can or cannot take with them, or what they are able to then construct. I think the rule about not taking stuff with you can be discarded. While hoi poi capsules are a thing in the Dragon Ball universe, the resource-strapped future won't have that many of them to hand. Sorry girls, no shameless fan service in the form of a buff, naked Saiyan hybrid to be had here. Besides, we don't want to strip Trunks of his precious sword now, do we? We will begin this story in the alternate future timeline. Goku is real dead, and the androids are running amok. Bulma has devised a way to send someone back, but it's not a vessel that they can take with them. It sends you there, and that's it, so this trip would be saying goodbye for forever. Knowing this, Trunks is of course very reluctant to go, so dithers and delays, trying to come up with alternate solutions. Ultimately, though, to no avail. Years later, the androids eventually find this hidden Capsule Corp facility, and they start to wreck the place. When it comes down to the last two, Trunks is held down by 18, while 17 gleefully kills Bulma. Not wanting their fun to end, though, they throw the sad boy through a couple of buildings and fly off. When he recovers, Trunks makes his way back and finds what's left. After a few hours of cradling his mother, he gets up and digs through the rubble, looking for that access way. Deep under Capsule Corp, the time machine sits, waiting, the date and location still set, the power at the ready. As the generators warm up, Trunks goes to collect the heart virus medicine. When he comes back, there are two figures standing at the bottom of the shaft. The androids hadn't left. They were waiting for him, and they had followed him down. They look around, wondering at all the equipment, as Trunks backs away, conveniently towards the platform. With a clang, the machine powers on, and the temporal displacement field envelops him. A shield, they think. All this junk for a shield? As the androids close in, the sphere solidifies around him. The next instant, Trunks finds himself on the scorched, reddish ground. He sits for a while, recovering from what he had seen today, not to mention known his entire life. A life now lost to him forever. He eventually makes his way to the wastelands for the meet and greet with Mecha Frieza, King Cold, the Z-Fighters, and later on, this mysterious Goku person. But this is a slightly different Trunks. This Trunks has no future to return to, and he knows it. Having just seen his mother wiped out, both by the androids and then by the fact that coming back in time should already have irrevocably changed that future, he knows he is here for good, or bad. With all this still very fresh in his mind, his interaction with Mecha Frieza, Cold, and the various minions is, well, it's pretty cold. I'm talking single energy beam from the hand slicing through them all, cutting them down one by one, and then Frieza in half, yet again. While the Z-Fighters look on in fear, Vegeta, however, is somewhat impressed. Surely Vegeta would want to fight them, right? I'm not sure about that, actually. They're obviously stronger than him, and he knows it, but this new man, on the other hand, is leagues ahead of them, and isn't wasting his time on what, to him, is trash. While Vegeta may be stewing over the power gap, he can see that there was no good fight to be had here, no challenge for this strange man to rise to, so he hadn't even bothered. He had simply crushed them under the proverbial heel of his boot and walked away. Walked this way. Trunks comes over to the group of onlookers and, unable to control himself, gives Bulma a very careful and gentle hug. Bulma, not to mention Yamcha, and maybe even Vegeta, are all kinda weirded out by this familiarity. Finally remembering that it's not yet his mother, Trunks moves away, and, to everyone's surprise, he says that they'll just wait for Goku. When Goku eventually arrives, Trunks doesn't drag him off. He's going to be here for the duration, so he might as well get on with it. And besides, he wants to be near his mum anyway. He tells them all about the future, but purposefully not glancing at Bulma or Vegeta, he glosses over his exact parentage. So everyone knows about the androids and the heart virus. Now what? Normally, they would go off and we'd get some mediocre filler. Well, not this time. Trunks, for one, is single-minded in his focus on his goal. He visits Vegeta's own personal gravity chamber, conveniently located at Capsule Corp, and is equal parts amazed and saddened. If this had survived in the future, maybe Master Gohan would still be alive. Maybe even his mother. This is a Capsule Corp he never really knew. There are gardens where there was nothing but dirt, and buildings where there was nothing but rubble. Right, he knows what he needs to do. Everyone needs to train in this room. They need to live and breathe this room. Goku, of course, has no objections at all to being dragged off to train in the gravity chamber. He is impressed at Vegeta's level of training, but is also not at all afraid to talk to this desperate young man from the future about how to train all of one's body, mind, and spirit. Something that torturing yourself day in and day out just doesn't quite allow for. So the training regime is set, and everyone participates. Chi-Chi is not at all pleased about her little Gohan being dragged away from his studies, but Gohan himself is in awe of Master Trunks. Trunks, on the other hand, takes what solace he can in training the boy, who was his own master, and, to be honest, his only friend. Goku's words are not lost on him, fortunately, so the training includes sufficient downtime and meditation, which Piccolo finds himself put in charge of. Vegeta was initially very reluctant to share his precious gravity chamber with them, but, well, Trunks can pretty much one-shot him in base, so deal with it, Vegeta. Fortunately, his respect for Trunks, this strange but seemingly brutal, mysterious Saiyan interloper from the future, only increases over time. And being able to actively train against a Super Saiyan is doing wonders for all of their base powers. Between him and Kakarot, there is almost always someone there to spar with, though he avoids training with that damned Kakarot if at all possible. This extended use of, and proximity to, the Super Saiyans, Goku and Trunks, has some interesting side effects. They themselves are getting much more used to the form, lasting longer and longer in it each day. Also, being so frequently exposed to it, Vegeta soon achieves it. Several weeks later, and frustrated at Gohan's inability to reach it as well, Trunks pulls a Vegeta vs. Kaba, and purposefully starts berating Gohan for not trying hard enough to protect his family and friends. While Gohan's rage boost is impressive, it's still no match for Trunks. When he presses on, driving his point home, Gohan is finally able to do it, and Trunks finds a rage-boosted Super Saiyan quite a handful. So we now have a total of 4 Super Saiyans to train with. Good job, Trunks! We also have 2 Grade 2 Super Saiyans, who are knocking on the door of something altogether bigger and stronger. With Gohan's ascension to Super Saiyan, even the mighty Piccolo is feeling a little left out. His impressive power now lags severely, and try as he might, he just can't keep up with these damned Saiyans and those 2 hybrids. Remembering the feeling of fusing with Nail, and now having the memories of Nail, he knows about that supposed Super Namekian that he once was, before splitting himself from Kami. He floats this idea with Kami a few times, but the elderly Namekian is a bit reluctant. They both are, actually. They'd be giving up everything, all that they are. There would also be no Guardian, and no Dragon Balls. If only there was a way to get a new Guardian, another Namekian perhaps. Too bad they don't know where... Oh, hold on. Piccolo remembers something that Goku had talked about during one of their many training sessions after he'd vanished, like properly vanished, and reappeared somewhere else, all while touching his forehead. Goku happily agrees to go and visit New Namek, so assuming that works, they now only have one obstacle, which is giving up who and what they are. So they make a deal. Get a replacement Guardian, and then, if and when there are no options left, then and only then will they give themselves back to whatever they used to be. Besides, you gotta break the new guy in, right? Can't just toss him the staff and expect miracles on day one, can you? One of the first things that Kami does, however, when Dende arrives, is deactivate his control over the Dragon Balls, and hands the small statue over to the boy. This way, even if he or Piccolo dies, the Dragon Balls will be safe. When the 3 years have passed, we have a very different landscape. Trunks has of course been here the whole time, constantly pushing them, and himself, harder, stronger, and faster. Vegeta achieving Super Saiyan is also no surprise to anyone, and Gohan is one already as well. Goku, Trunks, and even Vegeta, through sheer force of will, have all discovered Grade 3, that bulky, almost useless form of Super Saiyan, but have discarded it for obvious reasons. They are instead all working towards perfecting Super Saiyan, or Grade 4, and are at the cusp of it. Much to Chi-Chi's distress, even Gohan is able to stay Super Saiyan for the whole day under Goku's encouragement. After sorting things out with Kami, Piccolo threw himself back into training as hard as he could, and is hot on their conspicuously absent tails, power-wise. The Saiyan's base form strength is dwarfed by the Namekian, and quickly figuring out that the Super Saiyan form multiplies the base, they all take to training in base against Piccolo for the best workout possible. The other Z-Fighters have all been pushing themselves as well. They have some ridiculously powerful people to spar with now, so despite not being in the same ballpark, relatively speaking, they are ripped as, bro. They have all, of course, been way too busy with Trunks' rigorous training regime to notice the passing of the 24th World Martial Arts Tournament. Having no one there with any ki to speak of means that it doesn't even register on their internal energy radars. From here, the two androids, 19 and 20, attack right on schedule, and Trunks is, of course, a bit confused. These are not the androids. What gives? Yamcha, unfortunately, still gets jumped and pumped dry of his energy, and while that energy is a lot more impressive than originally, it is still no match for the Saiyans. Goku takes on 19, while Vegeta lords over this rebuilt Gero. Oh, Goku forgot his meds, right? Right? Nope. Trunks had told everyone the tale of the future, so they had all heard about Goku's demise. Even Vegeta was worried about that. If anyone's going to kill that man, it'll be him. So needless to say, Goku takes his medicine, if for no other reason than to get everyone off his back about it. So does 19 drain Goku instead? Sure, but Trunks has had enough of this. They need to find the other ones. He dives in with his trusty sword and severs the robot's arms as they sap Goku almost to the point of pulling him out of Super Saiyan. The now massively empowered 19 proves troublesome for Trunks until Gohan steps up to the plate. He's finally figured out Stage 2, and angered by what happened to his dad, 19's head goes flying. Dr. Gero, meanwhile, has no such luck against Vegeta. With 3 years of being hyped up by Trunks, Vegeta is a bit more on guard. He can't sense anything from this machine, so goes all out, breaking Gero in numerous ways. They return to Capsule Corp with the 2 cranial units to be examined by Bulma, who was told under no circumstances to follow them, especially with her purple-haired baby boy, Boxer. Why Boxer? Well, because Trunks is already taken, and he's been hanging around for a while now, and didn't think to hide his name. No way Bulma would name her kid after him when he's, right there. Trunks had of course been worried about the whole Vegeta and Bulma parent thing, though. Surreptitiously watching their interactions, he just can't see how they ever got together. But at the same time, he knows he can't force things without risking it not happening at all. He sometimes wonders to himself if it even matters anymore. It's not like him not being born now will affect anything, right? He soon discovers that he didn't need to worry. Their stubborn personalities and shared hunger for recognition in their respective fields eventually brings them together. Only after Boxer is born and named did Trunks sit down with Bulma and tell her the whole truth. She had long suspected some sort of relation with the Briefs family, but had thought he might somehow be Tight's son, as her hopes of finding a suitable partner were, as ever, disappointing. Only when she found she was pregnant with Vegeta's child did the truth come to her. The ensuing hug was absolute heaven for the lost and excruciatingly lonely boy. But does he want them to change his name? No, Trunks is here for good, so there's no need to confuse people. When Bulma relays this all to Vegeta, what respect he had for Trunks all but evaporates. His own son had run from his problems. He had given up. How pathetic. Careful, Jeets. Having hung around to train this whole time, his hybrid nature has made him way stronger than you, both in base and Super Saiyan, so mind your manners, Dad. On seeing the android remains, Bulma instantly identifies 20 as the old Dr. Gero and leads them straight to the laboratory. On seeing 17 and 18 asleep in their pods, Trunks wants nothing more than to blast them into oblivion, but he is stopped when Bulma, who insisted on directly showing them the lab, calls them over to the schematics. They're just a couple of kids, Trunks. Just like you, they were forced into this terrible situation against their will. They weren't given a choice in this. And look, see? She just deleted the instructions to destroy everything Son Goku related. And this is where we shall leave things for now. While all may seem to be going well, things are not so good. Kami, high on his lookout, has been sensing something, just at the edge of his perception, something that seems to be carefully masking itself from him. Find out what it is next time on Dragonball. What if time travel was a one-way ticket?